Hello, my name is Thayer Period, and here's how I remade the beat to No New Friends by Autumn and SUMMRS, originally produced by Autumn. The first thing I remade was this wobbly lead sound. I made this sound in Serum, and here's how it sounds with no effects. Overall, a pretty basic sound. The main thing we have going on here is a sawtooth wave for our oscillator A, and then a sine for our oscillator B, and our oscillator B is pitched up an octave with the volume turned all the way down. The reason that is because we are using our oscillator B to FM our first oscillator to just add a little bit of harshness, a little bit of FM screechiness. Barely noticeable, but it is a bit of a difference. Our FM is just set to 22%. Then we are also using our LFO1 to modulate the fine pitch of our first oscillators, so that is causing the pitch to wobble back and forth. It's pretty subtle, but if I turn this up, you will notice a bigger difference. For effects, the first thing we have going on is a little bit of tube distortion, just to give the sound some more body. Then we have a flanger for some movement. Our mix is only at 33%. Then we are running it through a low-pass filter with quite a bit of resonance and our cutoff around 2.5K, just to get rid of some of those extra high frequencies that didn't need to be there. Also gives it a kind of vocally rubber sound. Then we have an EQ just basically cutting our low end and our high end, making it a more thin sound. And finally, just a reverb and a delay. The next thing I added was this piano. This piano is actually interesting because it is a combination of a couple different sounds. The first sound is just this piano I made in Serum. It is doing the majority of the work here, but then we also have this vintage EP2 piano from Purity layered in, just to provide some extra low frequencies. Finally, as you can see, there's 1/3 piano playing these higher notes up here. Essentially, it is just a version of our first piano that I made in Serum, but with the FM turned down a little bit. So this piano is pretty similar to all the electric pianos I have made before in Serum, with just some slight variations. We've got two sine waves, both of them are turned on and at the same pitch, and we are FMing our first sine wave by our second sine wave. We have our velocity controlling the level of both of our oscillators so that the volume of the notes respond accordingly to the hardness of the velocity in the piano roll. We also have a low-pass filter that is being modulated by this envelope here, essentially just adding a nice bit of pluckiness to our sound. Then for effects, we are just running it through a compressor, a phaser for some additional movement, an EQ to boost our high end, and then just again a reverb and a delay. As you can see here, our FM value is at 45%, and on this one that I wanted to be less intense, I have it at 35%. Next thing I added was our 808s. Rip to anyone who does not have headphones or earbuds on right now, because you probably were not able to hear that. We're just using this slice sub, just a very clean 808. Then I just ran it through a sausage fattener with our fatness around 18% and our color also around 18% for some nice saturation. Then a maxed out Fruity Soft clipper for some extra saturation, because it is really hard to hear that 808 unless you have a good sub or a pair of headphones on. So I was kind of hoping that adding this extra saturation would make it a little more audible, but it is still pretty hard to hear without those things. Here's without those effects. And here's with them. The last thing I added was the drums. Again, nothing super crazy going on except for the sequencing. He did some pretty interesting stuff with the percussion in the original, but we just have this plug hi-hat, this icy clap, which I added a little bit of EQing to in our sampler, just cutting out some of the low end and boosting the highs a bit. This reverb rim shot, I used the out fade here to get rid of some of that reverb. This snare, and yeah, that is everything. If if you want access to the Serum presets, the one-shots of those Serum presets, or the project file, or drums, or anything from this remake, or any of my other 150 plus remakes, those are all available on my Patreon, patreon.com/prodtherapy. I will throw a link up on screen right now. It's a great way to get over 500 new Serum presets for like $4. Also available as one-shots if you don't have Serum, and just a bunch of new sounds in general. Also, it is the best way to support me and really helps me continue to do these remakes. So yeah, hopefully this was informative and helpful and interesting, and I will catch you next time. Peace!